Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen. I have been thinking about certain words and phrases that make you sound more polished. Make no mistake, there are words and phrases that can make you sound more or less refined. Here are some examples of some of these beautiful words of the English language you may choose to use to sound more refined, as well as a few less desirable words which risk making you sound less sophisticated, or words that are simply overused. The first word is modern, which is constantly overused these days for everything, it seems. First records of the word modern comes from the late 1400s. It comes from the Latin modernus, from modo, meaning just recently. Most of the time, modern simply refers to something related to the present or the recent past, as opposed to the past or the distant past. But I will tell you a little secret. Please keep it to yourself, will you? I actually don't care too much for this word because it can be divisive and often misrepresented. So often, if you do not agree with something, you may get called old-fashioned. And this is utterly ridiculous. There are books about modern etiquette that go back to the Victorian times. So ironically, the word to me can seem redundant and outdated. Shall we say, certainly not modern. I prefer the phrase, a reflection of the times. I keep the word modern for describing current clothing, fashion or technology, not to be used to categorize people's social or cultural beliefs. Number 2. On the other hand, the phrase old-fashioned is another statement that is also overused and in many cases misrepresented. For example, people may say you are old-fashioned simply because you enjoy old classic movies or classic books, when really it is not old-fashioned at all. This is an appreciation of history and a way to understand and learn from the timeless classics and various appreciations, and will be here long after we are gone. Another example is if one dresses in a classic demure style. Again, this is simply one being perhaps more traditional and conservative in style. Or if you choose to take a more traditional approach to your life. It could be something simple, such as you prefer to drink your tea from a fine china teacup rather than a mug. Not necessarily considered old-fashioned, it is an appreciation of a particular style. My favourite story of design and fashion is the BMW Z8. The Z8 was modelled after the BMW 507 late 50s model. Both models are very chic, neither to be considered old-fashioned. The finer things in life simply have value that you may hold close to your heart, as a preference which is another desired aspect in personal taste. Number 3, kid. Kid is a word I confess I think of fingernails on the chalkboard when I hear it. Kid is often used to describe a child. Kid is actually an informal slang word for a child, or kids is the shortened slang word for children, when in fact the word kid is actually a baby goat. So when addressing your child or someone else's children, just picture the baby goat in your mind, and that may stop you right there in your tracks. Just something to keep in mind. So child or children should always be used in the place of the word kid or kids. By the way, I teach children's etiquette, not etiquette for baby goats. I have a very detailed online course which covers 10 lessons which will give your child more grace and confidence in life. So please do take a look at that if you are interested. Number 4. We've all heard this one. Do not use the Lord's name in vain and say, "Oh my God." This sounds absolutely over the top and makes one want to call for help. Here are 3 lovely alternatives to counter this unsophisticated expression. Oh my goodness, or good gracious me. My favourite is simply oh my. This will sound much more sophisticated, and better still, you will not offend anyone for that matter. After all, etiquette is primarily about thinking of others as well as respect for your own conduct. Number 5. In America, the words kettle and teapot often get confused and used for the wrong pot. Just to be clear, a kettle is something that you put on the stove to warm up the water for your tea. Or you can have an electric kettle, which many people use in Europe. While a teapot is used to pour your hot water in to steep the tea bags or the tea leaves for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how strong you wish the tea to be, until it's ready to pour into the teacup. I do trust I've given you something to think about. For more information, please visit me at The Lady Etiquette on Instagram, if you are on there that is, or at ladyetiquette.com. Till the next time.